Three, two, one.
Alright, welcome back to McRaeathon, everyone. McRaeathon 2025, actually, to be precise. We are back with day 2 of the event, and we've got a lot of cool little runs coming up. Lots of racing, lots of driving, but first we have the first run of today, which will be Victory Heat Rally by Viper himself. Say hello.
No worries, thank you very much, Rug. And yes, hello, Viper or ViperUK. This is Victory Heat Rally, released in early October last year. It's an indie racing title made by the folks at, I think it's Platonic Games, something around there. Sky Devil Palm as well helped create this masterpiece. Those that don't know, the company that was behind this also made Lil Gator game. Now I know that that's not racing, but that's, if anyone's played that from last year, they made this little gem. And yeah, so today what we're going to be doing is we are going to be doing the Group Alpha, all races. So that essentially consists of doing 4 races per tour, plus the extra side stuff like jokers and things, and a Grand Prix which covers everything. So I won't take up too much time. If tech is ready on time, then we'll get going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so where do I start with this game? Well, let's just say this. Victory Heat Rally was a game that, like I said, it came out towards the back end of last year in October, and for what it's worth, I originally played this game at a, funnily enough, a gaming show, which I got invited to last year along with a load of other people. And at first, I'll be quite honest, I wasn't keen on it. It wasn't my favourite game at the time when I played it. However, when it came out on Steam Next Fest, I was just thinking like, I wonder if that game was any good. I don't remember it being fantastic, but I'll give it a try. So anyway, what ends up happening is I end up playing the game, and there's a demo of it, and I actually quite enjoyed the demo, and I was quite surprised to, like, I was genuinely surprised to see how much I actually enjoyed the game. It was very interesting, to be honest. Yeah, I quite enjoyed it for what it was. So yeah, pretty damn good. Very much enjoyable. So yeah, not too bad. Anyhow, right. So where do we start? Well, let's go from the beginning, shall we? So each one of these consists of doing. You've got a set of races. So for each tour that you do, you have 4 races and a Grand Prix, and the Grand Prix just covers the races. Yeah. So essentially, you're going to see every race at least twice. Once in a casual setting, where you just have to beat the race normally. And then the second one is a case of where you would beat the race, but from a slightly different perspective. So yeah, it's from a Grand Prix perspective. In the Grand Prix, the AI do get much more difficult. It's very much a case of seeing what you can do against the AI, which is very, very cool. Yeah. Oh yeah, and also if you have a bat marker, you can just send them like 200 feet in the air, and they just go absolutely flying. So yeah, there you go. Now, one of the things that I personally do quite like about the game is the graphical art style, the whole like 90s pixelized look. Now, the thing is as well, there'll be people who like their AAA racing games and go, I'm okay with this, but I don't like it because it's not like 4K graphics or whatever. However, that really doesn't matter, because it's like, well, the thing is, you know, at the end of the day, you could get a game that's got like 4K graphics, but it's probably missing half its content. I believe you can pick this up for less than £10. If it's ever on sale, then definitely pick it up. But also, not just because it's on sale, I would genuinely recommend picking this up regardless. If you're into old kart races. I would say stuff like if you're into mini golf. No, Mario Kart. Sorry, if you're into like Mario Kart, then you'll probably enjoy this. The other thing is as well is that whilst there isn't much of a story to the game, it's not really one that's designated with a story. It's mainly based around a tournament by the name of ViperUK Championship, I think it is at the time. And it's presented by someone called Sally McRaeathon. Now, surprisingly or unsurprisingly, you may notice the character design. So, we're playing as Lucy, but there are 11 other characters that you can unlock throughout the campaign. The game does get harder, and I think for a rookie, you may struggle on certain races. The game does get harder towards the end, but I think that's to kind of be expected, to be honest. There's very much, like I said, an anime art style for the characters, which if you're into stuff like that, then you'll enjoy it. Personally speaking, I'm not a massive anime fan, but I can appreciate the character design and the art design. I also think the music is pretty good as well. That's actually, in my opinion, one of the massive highlights of the game with the art style. So yeah, pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. Okay, so we move on to our first Joker. Now, the Jokers consist of basically having to do things like this, like hitting cones, for example. Now, we only need bronze in this, so yeah, we'll try and see what we can do. There you go. Now I don't have to worry if I hit any more. I can still drive and try and hit them if I want. There you go. And there's that one. Just like that, there you go. So I don't have to get gold in that. Gold is ideal, but for gold it's a bit slow, so yeah, we just go as fast as we can. So we've got silver on that one. Now if I was doing all races and had to beat everything to gold, then it means that obviously I would have to take things a bit more slower. Now, this is a rally. Now, for those that don't know what rallying is or are unfamiliar, I mean, at the end of the day, while you're watching McRaeathon, you should know what rallying is. But if you don't, rallying consists of point A to point B. Now, in this game, it's mainly consistent of circuit racing. However, if you play any sort of rally game, it mainly involves point to point. This has a mix. So this has circuit racing for the most part, but it also has these rally stages. Now, the rally stages are different if you're playing this in a championship sense or on their own. When you play them individually, like I'm doing right now, you can see that there's a goal time, and we have to beat said goal time. However, if you play this in the championship mode isn't bothered about what time you do. It is more concerned about where you actually finish against the other 11 racers. Now, a few things to kind of mention. You can obviously customize your the paint scheme on the cars. You can customize the suspension, the tires, and something else, and I forget what it is exactly, but you can customize a few bits. Now, we're getting on to the first Grand Prix, so we've got our first rival, which is Tommy. So, as I was saying before, this is our first Grand Prix. And, yeah, we'll kind of... It's, again, the first 4 races that you've already seen before. So, whilst I'm doing this and participating against Tommy, I'll let our host take it away for any donations or anything they want to say. Or you.
Yes, thank you. We don't have any donations coming in. However, I would like to point out that great little bid war that we still have for the final run of today, for the Grand Tour, because you can choose one of the free episodes that they'll be doing. And the current one in the lead is still Funeral for a Ford with £70.50. However, with enough donations, we might be able to get one of the other ones in the lead, like Well-Aged Scotch or Legends in Luggage. So if you get your donations in, definitely choose one of those bid war options. And with that, back to you.
Alright, thank you very much. So I will just kind of quickly point out as well. So with the ViperUK Rally, there is a main any percent. So I'll just kind of go over a few of the speedrun categories here. So there is a few main ones. There is any percent, which involves beating all the races from the fresh save file. up until beating the Rallymania Grand Prix. It's about 2.5 hours. In my opinion, it is a bit repetitive, but yeah, driving skill definitely wins on that one. But then also there is all Grand Prix, where you just do the Grand Prix for every tour, which is 9 in total, plus the Rallymania GP, making it a full 10. And then what else we have is you have 100%, which involves completing everything to gold. So you have to beat every race in first place, all the jokers with a gold medal, defeat all rivals, that sort of thing. And I only did the first run of that not too long ago, and it took me in the region of 5 hours. It was a pretty hefty one. The only reason it took so long is because we mentioned before about you can customize your cars. So one of the things that's included in 100%, which is a bit like, it's extremely tedious, is that to beat this game 100%, it's a bit like GTA San Andreas 100%, where you can beat your 100%, but true hundo is to do this, and this. So in Victory Heat Rally, to beat the game 100% by default, you would have to beat every race on highest difficulty, defeat all rivals, beat all jokers with a gold medal, and it also involves collecting every paint job for every character. Now, to unlock every paint job for every character, you have to win 16 races each with a character. Now, unfortunately, there's not enough races in the game to unlock all of the paint jobs in total, if that makes sense. So what you'll end up doing is, for me personally, when I did the 100% run, I started with one character, did 16 races. As soon as I unlocked all the paint jobs, I was like, right, move to the next character, do 16 races of them. So I was able to unlock them as I was going, and then just cleaned up towards the end. But I spent close to 2 hours just cleaning everything up. I also included in the cleanup any races that I didn't win originally. So most of the races I actually got first try, but there is 1 or 2 trials that will test you. In terms of like the main starting characters as well in this game, so there is Chrissy, who is a great character to use. I'm not really going to mention too many of the other characters, but the characters all differ in terms of their cars. So some will be heavy, some will be light. Now it's worth mentioning, so if a character's car is light, it means that it won't sustain the top speed for too long. So Lucy's car is light, which means her acceleration is really, really good, and her grip levels are really good. However, you're able to fill up the boost bar fast at the sacrifice of the boost quickly runs out. However, if you use someone like, I don't think Tommy, but if you use another character like Hawk or Ace maybe, their cars are much heavier, and as a result, more weight means that they're able to hold. Surprisingly, in this game, they're able to hold the boost more, but that's at the cost of the car slowly increasing its boost bar. So you have to do like this balancing act between one and the other, which is interesting. And to kind of just move into though, so there's also individual groups as well. So what you can also do is you can also do. So as you can see, I'm doing Group Alpha, there's Group X and Group Z. Why there are different groups, I don't know, but either way, I digress. And for each group, there is 2 categories. There is All Grand Prix, each group, which is usually the shortest one of the bunch, and then there's All Races. So essentially, there is multiple categories you can go for. If you were to do All Races, which as you can tell by the estimate, doing all races for the groups is quite long. It's 50 minutes to an hour just to do the one group. However, if you just decide that you want to do all the Grand Prix, then it's about 20 to 25 minutes, if that. The other thing as well is that when we're doing the groups, it doesn't include the Rallymania. So the Rallymania Grand Prix, which is essentially the finale to the game, you can actually do that in the any percent and the All Grand Prix categories, whereas in this we choose not to. Don't have to do it in the groups. In fact, there's not even a category for Rallymania on its own, so there you go. Also, because we have now done our first Grand Prix, that's one of the goals done. So now what we've got to do is we've now got to take on Tommy. So Tommy is down here.
Focus.
And there you go. Now, the funny thing is, when I was doing 100%, I kept beating Tommy over and over because he's got the fastest race to beat. I think to beat him, it takes something like 20 seconds or something. So, to beat a character, it works like Tokyo Extreme Racer style, so you both have a bar. The further ahead of the character you get, the quicker the bar goes down, so you can see now that the bar is going down for Tommy. The faster I go and the further ahead I get, the faster the bar goes down. And that's it, that's how you defeat Tommy, just like that. So, yeah, the more you know. Easy. So, yeah. And we also get this as well to say, we win! So, with that, that is the Breeze Tour done. And he's not too happy about that. So, we're going to go to the Thunder Tour next. And immediately jump straight into the first race. And we're on to Knight's Path. We have Bandit Blitz, Rego Road, and Drift Stadium section of races. As I was saying, in terms of the handling physics as well, I will just be honest as well. So, like a lot of games can be, unless it's simulation, of course. A lot of games, especially this one, are very much a case of easy to handle but hard to master. In my opinion, if you put a little bit of time into this, you'll get used to it. Setting up the car is quite crucial, and unsurprisingly in this game, because of how fast the physics go, the cars and everything like that, the ILs for this game are absolutely nuts. Yeah. The other thing as well to mention, so the ILs don't include having the AI on the track, so you won't have back markers. You only get this in races and, yeah, mainly the races and the championship mode. So you can do single player, so you can do single races on there as well. There's a arcade mode. I've not even mentioned about the other game mode. So championship is the main bread and butter of this game. The arcade mode works in a way that you can do any of the cuts to your liking. You can pick how hard you want the AI to be, and things like that. The other thing is as well is that you are able to do other things too, which is quite nice. So, for example, you're able to do certain races, we'll call it, in different conditions. I think if you do single race, you're able to pick the conditions and stuff, which is really cool. Yeah, arcade mode, you can pick difficulty and really make the AI difficult. So I was doing I decided to do the arcade Grand Prix thing that you can do from the main menu, like I said, one of the other game modes. And one of the main things that I got out of it was, I was like, oh yeah, I beat this game like a fair bit now, and I should be able to beat the AI on the hardest difficulty. And they really put up a fight, like really difficult. Yeah, you can definitely like feel how hard the game wants to be. Like I said, you can choose how hard you want it to be. There is also a multiplayer mode, so you can play with up to 4 friends on the same monitor, PC, whatever you want to call it. So it's yeah, it's enjoyable with kids and everything like that. I do believe you can also get this game on the Switch as well. I don't know how it handles on the Switch, but for me personally, I would say if you've got a chance to get it on PC, then definitely do so. But also, I can see why it might appeal for Switch users. Like I said, it very much will take a bit of getting used to. There is a couple of things to just kind of mention off the top of my head. So the main thing being that, well, in terms of the game as a whole, there is a Discord for this. I do wish there was more runners for this game, to be honest. There's like a lot of people that do ILs, but I wish there was just more full game runs, to be honest. It'd be nice to have some more competition. But yeah, it's like I said, very fun game, and like I said, definitely worth picking it up. If you see it on like a Steam sale or anything like that, definitely recommend picking it up. I don't know if there's a demo of the game. I can't really say anything regarding the demo. But if there is, then again, definitely pick it up. And yeah, I'll hand it over to our host if he's about.
Yes, I'm here. I'm liking the game so far. I actually haven't seen this one. I was confusing it with another game that was really similar. Anyway, no donations yet, but I can always read some silly little things like, hey, you're watching McRaeathon, did you know? We're a 2-day speedrunning marathon held here in McRaeathon and on the NSG channel. And through the power of the internet, we're bringing you 2 full days of racing goodness, steering wheels, revving engines, all that cool stuff, from the comfort of our own homes to yours. Do remember, all of our donations will be going to a great charity, Get Well Gamers UK, which is a Scottish charity operating in the UK, and they bring electronic entertainment to children's hospitals and other facilities for entertainment and pain relief. And with that, back to you again.
Alright, thanks very much. It was also interesting with that one, going for gold on that. I won't resist going for gold on that one, to be honest, because you don't really it doesn't take too much time, and you can easily switch between them. Now, the funny thing is, we've just done this race, but we've done it as a joker, so now we're actually going to do it again, but as a rally stage. So sometimes, like I said, you'll see duplicates, but unfortunately as well, that's another thing. So there is a good range of tracks, the track design is pretty good, in my opinion. One of the things to point out is that there is certain soundtracks that don't appear in this particular group. I think it might be more towards the back end of the game, but there is music for different styles. So in my opinion, there is a great soundtrack, not just in general, but like there's a snow environment that you can do, and the music for that is really good as well. It has very much, like I said, a winter beatbox sort of tone. I don't know how I explain it really, but it sounds very familiar when you listen to it, and it matches, like the music very much matches the tracks quite well. Personal favourite, no bias intended. Even though I'm not an Initial D guy, there is a set of soundtracks. One particular soundtrack in this game that is Initial D style, and sounds amazing. And honestly, I really like how it's done and how it's all, how it's taken into consideration. It is really, really good. But yeah, you can see as well, some of the tracks are just friggin' bonkers. But the thing is as well, the cars aren't too fast, surprisingly. There is a really good sense of speed. So the fastest I've managed to get any of the cars up to was, I think when I was playing about, I was testing out one of the characters in 100%. And I managed to get one of the cars up to, so you can see that it was like 160 there. I ended up getting one of the characters up to like 180. I think it is possible to push the cars to like nearly 200 miles an hour. And at them speeds, they are just insane. I don't know how to get it. I don't even know, to be honest, I couldn't even tell you how I got it to 180 to start with. But yeah, unsurprisingly, it probably should come as no surprise that you'll notice that we have 3 different levels when it comes to our boost bar. Obviously, we try and aim for the purple. Purple is the most powerful. Green is very hesitant. There are several levels, like I said, of boosting that you can do. Even on little corners that aren't really meant for boosting. That's why I try and get the boosting in advance. Because I'm like, as long as, at the end of the day, the more you boost, the faster you go, so it's not too bad. Also, as well, I do love the landing of the cars when they do jumps. It's quite nice. Satisfying, I'll say that much. There we are. That is Drift Stadium done. We've got a Gymkhana one coming up next. So Gymkhana is essentially like a drift trial. This is something that isn't seen too much in the main game. And it's kind of understandable as to why. It is a bit stressful. But you'll see as to how it all works now. So with these ones, what you have to do is stay away from the cones. Through corners. Now, we obviously need to make sure we finish with a certain amount of time on it. There's only one downside. Well, as you can see, we hit a cone, we lose time. And that's what's about to happen if I'm careful. It is friggin' bonkers, to be honest. It took me a while to actually get used to these particular ones. But they are nuts when you get them. They are really good fun, though. It's a good one. With that being said, though, done with the Joker, so now we're on to the Thunder Grand Prix. Again, another 4 races, so we've got our next one. And our rival for this is Kenzie. Funnily enough, Kenzie's in chat. No, it's not the same Kenzie, but yeah. So she's a good character, I'd say. She actually has a decent car. And she's going to be our rival for this Grand Prix, and also the next rival that we need to defeat. So, yeah, let's see what we can do against her. Yeah, she is a bit tricky. Also, sometimes that happens, which is always interesting, to be honest. It's, should be a good one. The other thing is as well is that, so in like most racing games, I often find that one of the main things that kind of winds me up a little bit, now I guess it's just a short attention span, but you know, like years ago I could probably play a racing game with a stage of like 6 minutes in a racing game, but now that would bore the living hell out of me. I also think that that's why Victory Heat Rally is so good, because the races aren't too fast, but they're not too long either. There are a few races that are a bit long towards the back end of the campaign that are ranging like 2.5 to 3 minutes. But again, it's just how it is. You'd probably expect that, given it's like the back end of the game. So yeah, there you go. That's one race done. 3 to go. We've got to do Bandit Blitz, Regal Road, and Drift Stadium. So should be fun. So to the next one. So Bandit Blitz is quite a fast race, as we were showing off before. Like I said, we've got Regal Road, which is the rally stage. So just have to make sure that the main thing of like where you do lose time, where you can lose time, is unsurprisingly at the start, depending on what the AI does. So the AI can easily get in your way, especially towards the latter races in the game. They very much do become a problem. So navigating AI, I'll be honest as well, like in my opinion at least, there's not a chance that you can anticipate where the AI is going to go because it's completely random. But I personally think it's not 100% random, because it does seem like certain cars go a certain direction. You'll probably realise quite quickly that cars can easily move over. If there's one car in front of another, they will literally do anything they can to avoid them. So yeah, it's all good fun. Yeah, like I said, the whole graphical art style, the music, the handling, the little mini cars, I think that's another thing I've not even mentioned. So the cars are not really based off anything in particular. I'd say there's a couple of, like, 5, maybe 6 unique car models. After that, they kind of start repeating a little bit. Few differences separating one from the other. But one of the main things I would just kind of point out is that for anyone that likes the, is it Churro Q series? So like Road Trip Adventure and stuff like that. For the PS2, I think it was. Anyone that likes them sort of games will probably like this, because of the little Diddy cars. You know, the squash cars. Granted, they're not licensed, but the squash cars. It's, yeah, it's something that people who like them games may like this, personally speaking. See it as an indie version. And kind of speaking on indie games as well, I think this kind of just goes out saying, obviously, be sure to support indie developers wherever you can. In my opinion, that over the last couple of years, one of the things that I tend to say is that with indie games, I often overlook them over like the last couple of years, especially like the last, well, up until a couple of years ago anyway. I was not really interested in buying AAA nonsense, we'll call it, anymore, and was like, I fancy something different. I fancy a different game, and ended up looking in the indie scene and was quite surprised to find what sort of little gems there are. So yeah, definitely support indie developers wherever you can. They obviously appreciate your support, and they even have an Indie Games Awards now, which is amazing. You know, at the end of the day, I think indie games are definitely the way forward at the moment. There's not many AAA titles that are that good. There are still, you know, the odd masterpiece here and there, but I think if there's one thing I will say is that indie seems to be a lot better now than it was 10, 15 years ago. Maybe that was the reason I criticised it so much 15 years ago. 10, 15 years ago, because the games weren't great. There are some great indie games from 10, 15 years ago, but most of the ones that I saw and played were rubbish. Or just saying very cheap and knockoffs and everything. Don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of that now, but I feel like there's a lot more experience in the industry, a lot more people who know what they're doing, a lot more people who have more of a graphical art style, you know, a graphical thumb, we'll call it. You usually say like a green thumb, don't you, for someone who likes gardening? So someone who's got an artistic nature, that sort of thing. Personally speaking, I found so many great games, not just racing, but great games in general from the indie scene. Obviously, a Little Gator game, we mentioned it before, that Playtonic Games did, and that was an indie title, of course. You had stuff like Victory Heat Rally. Geno Panic was one of my favourites from last year as well. There is still a lot of other indie games that are being released this year as well. I do believe that there are games out there where they just haven't done as good as they should have done, but again, each to their own. Not every indie game will be everyone's cup of tea, but I feel like indie games are often judged because it's like, oh, it's indie, it's made by 5 people, so it's rubbish. It's like, no, not every indie game that's made by 5 people is rubbish. And granted, alright, there was a team of, I don't know how many that made this, but it's still an indie developer. You know, they weren't backed by friggin' Microsoft or Sony or Nintendo. You know, it's very interesting. I mean, there was a game called Super Sketch Bob. I don't know if people have heard of it or not. But that was an indie title. Originally started as a Flash game, and now it's a full game. It's out there that people can play. I had a lot of fun playing it. Granted, it's very fast to speedrun, but it's quite a fun little game. And yeah, I'd definitely recommend picking that up as well if you get the chance. Good fun. So, with that being said, we now get to take on Kenzie. Now, Kenzie has a unique vehicle. In my opinion, this looks like a Nissan Skyline R32. Yeah, Kenzie definitely knew how to pick a vehicle. One thing I will mention about dual things, by the way, there's no map for these races, so you really do have to adapt on the fly to what their tracks are, which is very interesting. And there's some monster jumps as well, as you can see. Now, I do believe that these tracks are available in the free race mode, but to get them, you have to unlock them and everything first, which is fun. But there you go. So, yeah, also that is the Thunder Tour done and dusted, which brings us on to our last tour, and that means we've got the Sidewinder tour. So with that being said, on to the last tour, and off we go. We're on to Crimson Heat. Then we have Hyperbend, Moonshine Mile, and something else after that. Not quite sure, the splits don't go that far. Yeah, if there's anything you want to talk about, you go right ahead.
Yes, awesome. I definitely have things to talk about now. We actually have a donation, and it's £10 from Nanaki Emi, and it reads, "Always happy to help out other gamers. Good luck to all the runners. commentators and background staff who make these events happen. And I just checked, that one went to the Grand Tour Bid War. It added an extra £10 to well-aged scotch, so it's now only £50.50 away from matching Funeral for a Ford. Might make a comeback.
Ooh, the comeback is on.
Yeah, I was curious. I checked the soundtrack earlier, and the first song I picked for this game to hear was actually the Eurobeat track. Very convenient. But I see what you meant with the winter song. It sounds pretty cool.
The art style as well, like I said, I think gives it that effect. I know that it may look a bit too pixelized, but the thing is as well, I've not even mentioned this as well. So the art style can be adjusted so you can have it less pixelized and more smoother. If you so desire, you can do that. And then there is also the option as well. So you may notice whenever I'm going around corners that the camera turns as well. It kind of turns with the car. You can adjust how much that actually turns. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, so here we go. This is Hyperbend, and no, you're not seeing things. This is a monster of a race. It's essentially set in a fairground, a castle, industrial themed one. There's actually something very interesting to point out. So, Lucy's Duel race takes place on one of the other tracks in the zone, and I'll just say this now. There is a reason that Lucy is the last character you duel against, and the reason why she's so good. Because, holy hell, does it really paint the picture. It really does paint a picture about her. In fact, if we have time at the end, I might see if I can show off. I think we may have time, but if we have time at the end, I'll be able to show off the Eurobeat one as well. I think you were saying, oh, that's the first one you came across.
Yeah, if I remember it right, it was something like the Mount.
Mount Akutashi, I think it is.
Mount Agadashi.
Or Agadashi or something, yeah.
Yeah.
Conveniently, the first track that shows up on that particular soundtrack is called Tofu Run. And I wish I was joking. That's not a joke. Like, the first race it shows up is called Tofu Run. In fact, I think that's probably the one I'd show off, if I remember where it is. So, yeah. Definitely stick around for that. Also, another Joker. This time on Coastline Cruise. Now, this is a unique one. So, this particular one that we're going to be doing here is a unique race style. So, what we have to do is we have to boost through the gates, or make sure that we are boosting. So you see that there is the pattern of the these flashing lights that show up like that. You also see as well that above the speedometer thing as well, there is also boost. And yeah, there you go. That's what we need to make sure we're doing. So you just have to go at the right time. Quite convenient. Yep. Now these can be difficult. You have to just be very, very careful. It's quite easy to lose your boost, and also for the game not to count it. There we go. Yeah, good fun. All good fun with a boost race. I will be honest though, I was saying before about there's one or two hard races in the game. One of them does involve one of them boost races, which is one of them things, I guess. But anyway, moving on to Moonshine Mile, which is a rally race. So we've got a time to beat of 1 minute 20. We should easily be able to beat that, to be honest. Coming up after this, though, we have another Joker, which is quite convenient. Now, this one's interesting for multiple reasons. There's a lot more turns in this one. However, at the end of the day, it is what it is. You can easily pass through this. Like I said, we are using Lucy, who is she's, in my opinion, she's the best character in the game for everything. However, the characters like, one of the things I would say is that Lucy's the best all-rounder. However, if you're able to, like, really master one of the other characters, then you can make the other characters just as fast as her. Like, on the ILs, for example, there is a good mix of people using a good range of characters. So, for example, I would just use Lucy for everything. Or Pepe, I think he's called, who has a ridiculously high top speed. Like, I think it's maximum is like just casual, it's like 160 mile an hour without even boosting. Whereas with Lucy, I have to boost her to that sort of speed, but he's really hard to handle. So yeah, it's just one of them really. But at the same time, like I said, you can really feel the sense of speed that it's great fun. Anyway, so done with Moonshine Mile. We're going to move to Sideways Cyclone now, which is a Joker. Now this one's an interesting one, so this is also another unique one, that we have to pass 10 cars. So we have to do this without destroying them. Now, ideally, I want to try and destroy a few cars like that. So, if I destroy a few. Yep. Keep deliberately destroying cars here. You notice how my timer's going down, that's because that's what I want it to happen. I want that to happen. Yeah, hopefully I can knock the time off, but it doesn't seem like it's working. There. I got bronze in that one. It's quite hectic, that one. Should have, if I hit a few cars a bit faster, it would have passed it easier. So we got bronze on that one. So now we move to the last race, which is Tournament Grounds, and we also have a Joker race that we need to do after this, which is at Drift Stadium, which I believe we've already done. And then once we've done that, we move to the Grand Prix, and then we take down Renzo, who is going to be our final rival for the group. And yeah, once that's done and dusted, that will be it for the run. So we'll see how that goes. But for now, let's focus on what we've got in front of us. So we've got to make sure that, like I said, a lot of the tracks are fast and flowing. There's not too much to this particular track, as you can tell. However, there are a few things with the track. There are, you probably noticed actually, I've not really talked about this very much, but allow me to just quickly mention it. That when you go off track, your car will blow up. Now, rather than the game start you from scratch, and like in most racing games, oh, you've gone off the track, right, okay. You start from like, you start from scratch essentially. If you was to jump off the track and the AI was in front of you, the game tries to keep your momentum as much as possible and respawns you back on track with like, I think it's about 85% momentum maybe. So if you're doing like 150 when you go off the road, it'll respawn you about 110. It keeps you back in. It keeps you in the whole. Keeps you in the race. It's not rubber banding per se, because once you get in front, as you can see, you really do get in front. Yeah, it's one of them mechanics. It's a nice mechanic, especially for beginners as well. I think also helps for people to have a crack at this race. Also, with Tournament Grounds done, like I said, we've got a Joker to do after this, then the Sidewinder Grand Prix, and then Renzo. So, yeah, not too much to go now. Like I said, once we get the Joker out of the way here, it's mainly just the Sidewinder Grand Prix. So, funnily enough, this is Drift Race. Now, for this, we need to get bronze, which should be easy. So, not only do you have to keep your drift, you also want to be at maximum, like that. You can do that and keep your speed at maximum. Yep. it'll be times by 50. And whatever you get, you can, like I said, easily push it for overdrive. I don't know how many laps I've got left. Maybe one more. Sure. Might be the last one. I could be wrong. There's no way of speeding this up, by the way. It's just how it is. So we've got 5,000 points, which means I can, if I so desired, I could just get a cone. It doesn't really matter. Oop. It's a split there. Whoops. I do have 2 laps, what do you know? If you hit a cone, you reset. So if you're on a ×3, it'll drop you down to a ×1, which really sucks, to be honest. But, what can you do? Anyway, so we've got the Sidewinder Grand Prix, which is against Renzo. So, first up, obviously, Crimson Heat. Then we're on Hyperbend, Moonshine Mile, and Tournament Grounds to finish off the Grand Prix. And then we have to take on Renzo. And, like I said, then we're done. Yeah, as I was saying, if you wanted to go for a short category for each group, then that you would do I would highly recommend going for the Grand Prix for the group instead of all races, because I think all races I'll be honest, I think all races may be a bit much for first timers, just because there's like different gameplay styles and everything like that. So I would definitely recommend just doing the Grand Prix as like a small way of getting used to the races. And then once you're obviously used to them, it's like, right, okay, everything else should be fair game, basically. So, yeah, definitely recommend that. If you wanted to see all of the races, then all Grand Prix is usually a good one to do, because it's about an hour and 20-something minutes. And provided you don't lose any races, of course. That's kind of what I meant as well about the guys respawning back on track earlier on. I mentioned before about you can damage the back markers and they'll jump back onto the game. They'll jump back on the track again, they'll respawn back on the track. So it's not just a case of you go off, you respawn. The game also does that as well, so yeah. When they're flashing, you're able to actually drive through them, which is nice. Yeah, all good fun. So, one race done. 3 to go. So, back to Hyperbend again.
3, 2, 1.
There is a end credits and everything like that. And the other thing I've not mentioned is, so I was kind of saying before, there is 11 other characters that you can play as, and each character has has its own ending for the end of the game. So if you use, to be honest, to find out what they all are, if you do the Rally Mania Grand Prix, that gives you the ending for each character. It's not an unlockable thing in a menu or anything like that. You don't unlock anything at the end of it, other than you get the credits, of course, for the end of the game. But yeah, you're able to have a unique ending. It's not like it's the same ending for every character, so it's like characters do speak to Sally McRaeathon, who runs this. There's also quite a passionate community with this game as well. Like I said, given the fact that the game's still relatively new, that doesn't really surprise me. There's also one last thing I haven't really mentioned as well. I think that's been on the screen the whole time, just haven't mentioned it. So the reason why the FPS is over here, top left corner, it should be at least, is because the game can run, you can turn the VSync off and the game can run at more than 60 FPS. Whether it gains the advantage or not, I don't know. So one of the rules of runs is that we always have to have the FPS on the screen. Hence the reason why it's in the top left corner. So normally on my screen it's Diddy, so hence the reason why it's on top of that. This is a FYI for people wondering why there's a massive FPS thing on the screen. So it's just to basically, if this is a PB, it'll count something at least. So yeah, all good fun. So, let's see how we get on this. Ooh. Lorenzo's actually pretty good at this race, it would seem. Oh, almost. He's almost good at this. Getting near the end here, come on. Like I said, there's a lot to take on board as well. Just kind of mention it as well for the next run that's coming up after this. So we also have, I believe, is it Parking Garage Rally? Ugu? Right?
Yeah, we're going to be driving through parking garages.
And if you like this sort of art style, then you'll have more of the same with Parking Garage Rally Circuit. Again, another indie racing title. Would highly recommend checking it out. Yeah, definitely keep an eye out for that one. We've essentially got a little mini indie retro mini gaming section blocked today for this one. But yeah, we had Inertial Drift yesterday. It's kind of funny. It's like, wait a minute, it's all drifting games. I'm sensing a pattern here. Yeah, so Inertial Drift as well was a indie title which we had Ventilo show off yesterday. So again, unique, completely different art style to this. Very Initial D like, of course, but there you go. Yeah, so this is the last race for the Grand Prix, and then we've got to defeat Renzo. Like I said, then we're done. This is actually looking pretty good as well in terms of like time, so see how we go. Kind of didn't get the second level of boost there, but nevertheless. You can actually do a drift in the air just before you jump, and it allows you to fill the meter up in mid-air. It fills it up a lot faster. So you can do that. Personally speaking, I've never done it myself, but there you go. Yeah, we're on to the last lap. Also do tilt me out a little bit. Apologies if you see me going like, what the hell is he doing? Yeah. One of them games that you kind of tilt your head to. Fine. Nice. Okie doke. It's a Sidewinder Grand Prix. And then we need to defeat Renzo next. And once we defeat Renzo, that's it. We've beaten everything, all races in the group. So, time to defeat Renzo. Ooh, he's on his own here. God damn. There we go. The time will be coming up when you see one or first or whoever. So if Tech is ready on time, it'll probably come up in about less than a minute's time. Renzo can be a bit hard to beat sometimes, so hopefully he's not too bad today. Shouldn't be. So I'm hoping he's not. There you go, time. There we go. And that was a PB by quite some margin. Wow.
GG, Marathon PB.
I got just short of 51.50, so 51.49.84 I got. Yeah, that was pretty good. PB world record, whatever you want to call it, it is. Pretty happy with that. So, yeah. And as well, to kind of do what I mean as well, I'll quickly show off, as I said, as promised, I will show off the... which one? This one. Go, see if we can get the race. Might be it. It's gonna be here somewhere. Grand Prix. There it is. Okay. So, I'm gonna say prepare yourself. So here you go. This is your reward. This is Tofu Run. This is the only one I can think of that shows off what this game is like as ode to stuff.
I'm seeing this right now on a small delay, and I can already tell this looks really, really nice.
So, it being Tofu Run as well. A lot of hairpins. Yeah, you can tell that this is an ode to Initial D. If this isn't an ode to Initial D, I don't know what is. Can I get gold as well? That's a big question here. Be able to. It is actually quite hard to get gold on this sometimes. I'm just hoping I can get it. There you go. Gold. There you go. There's your Initial D moment. But yeah, that is it from my side. Like I said, there is other characters in it. I'll just kind of quickly show some of the other characters. So we have Chrissy, Clyde, Lana, Tommy, Kenzie, of course you saw, Renzo, of course, Hawk, Inji, Pepe, and Ace, I think it is. Ace, which looks like a Ford Escort RS Cosworth, and Lucy. Yeah, very unique art styles as well. I'd say a good mix of men and women, to be honest. Yeah, Lucy's my personal favourite, so there you go. Anyway, I'm going to quit yapping. I'll hand it over back to our host, and yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And I'll catch you around. I'll see you around. Thanks very much.
Alright, thank you for showing that amazing little game. I definitely put this on my wish list now, because it looks like something I would enjoy. We're going to go into a quick intermission. We're going to set up for the next run, which will be Parking Garage Rally Circuit by Olvin, so stay tuned.